Mm.
So share with me things you would like to share with me.
So, first thing I want to say is, I have started my gratitude journaling practice again. So I don't know that I was specifically focused on the words of my ideal state necessarily, but the words in my ideal state are my best me. So might not have been perfect, but I got really into it. And the practice is, every night. I've done this off and on for years, and it felt really good to reconnect it. And this was what brought me there. So it was, dear God, thank you for my life exactly as it exists today. Um, and then, three things that I'm really grateful for today are, and they could either be three things that happened that day, or they could just be things that bubbled up. And so, so but it's not an intellectual exercise, it's a very emotional exercise. So it's whatever moved you either from that day or whatever is moving you kind of in that moment. So from that perspective, I had a lot of things come up for me that were very sort of high octane. And then I had a few things come up for me that were we'll call them like slow burn, warms the cockles of your heart kind of gratitude. So the good takeaway for me was I went to bed in an amazing emotional state every night. And I also added to that, I have healing singing bowls. It's a video that I listen to like do the gratitude practice and also to fall asleep to. And what I can say is it is, those are sort of my fast go-tos to get myself in an amazing emotional state. Whatever amazing emotional state could be, that you're like racked with grief. It just means that the emotions are flowing, right? So it was great to get back to that. I'm also in a separate program that is literally about that. And that started last week. So it's been, a lot of this is training your nervous system to be in a particular emotional state and to hold it, or hold it, meaning hold it long enough so that it could either get bigger, small, resolve, or move to something else. And so I can already feel, um, I can already feel my own nervous system holding some of these powerful emotional states better, more fully, more extended, more live and let live, like more like, okay, here you are. Hi, I'm feeling you, but do whatever you need to do. Go someplace else. And so that just feels great. Um, and that sounds like a very little thing, but that's actually the result of like, I don't know, 10 years of therapy, group, all kinds of stuff. So that's starting to feel really amazing. That's one. And then two is I got a ton more of those things. I can't even read through them fast enough, but they're all amazing. They're amazing. And I haven't put them all in, but I like, now I'm like really reaching out to people that are like one layer out in my network that I haven't spoken to in a while.
Very good.
So I sent a note to my boss from like 2014, maybe. So that's like a decade ago, right?
Right.
And like he got right back to me, right? And like with all kinds of amazing, like, this is what the experience is like, and like high level And so I was like, wow, that freaked me out. Um, I thought it was gonna be she's a great project manager, she's a good time manager, she's fun to, fun employee, positive attitude. It was um, very much in line with things that I'm like, wow, I hope people would have this experience. And so that was just one example, but there's a slew of them. There's another girl who I've only known her for like a month. We just finished a web seminar that we kind of developed today, and like not very heavy lifting for either of us. She wrote this. I was like, whatever. She wrote this thing that was like almost better than some of the stuff I got from people that I worked with for 10 years. So it was a really broad mix, and it's a great so I'm loving that. Loving that. And that's what I have to report.
I love it. How do you know how many responses you received?
I'm going to ballpark it at 15 to 20.
Very good. I really do want you to get them all together, and I want you to read one after another, after another, after another. I want beginning to end. I want you to read them to yourself. I mean, if you're not going to get them, I mean, and
Here, I'm going to open it. I have them on one email string, not all of them, but I have a good chunk of them, so I can just pull them up really quickly and I'll give you a sampling.
Okay. And I just want to verify that when you received yours, you in kind responded. So there's
Yeah, I did. And that's what's so funny is that then I got like a double down. Then I got like a blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I wasn't even asking for that, but so I got twofers for a lot of them.
That's the networking. That is your network of goodwill. It's network, it's goodwill. And that's what you have in place now.
All right. I'm going to pull. Is this the right one? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just read these, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. You have a way with words that I envy. You thoughtfully put together marketing messages, plan great events, and around the office. This is somebody I've not worked with for at least 10 years.
Wow. Now, also, I want you to take away who said it. I just want the words.
Okay.
So I don't want you to have the relationship to the person. I just want you. That's it.
All right, here we go. You have a way with words that I envy. You thoughtfully put together marketing messages, plan great events, and around the office, you help build a friendly, inclusive culture. I find you to be creative and full of ideas, but you're always willing to listen and to ask for new ones. Next one is blah, blah, blah. Lisa is a reliable, creative, articulate team builder. She has a uniquely strong capability to explain issues in such a way as to build consensus while encouraging others to share ideas and challenge her own. She's a problem solver and uses technology to her and her team's benefit. Next one. Lisa brings a unique perspective to situations due to her astute understanding of human beings and corporate culture. She excels in written communication and presentations, both in preparation and execution. On a personal level, Lisa is a trusted individual, loyal and hardworking. Next one. 4 words jump to mind when describing Lisa. Curious, organized, motivated, and a team player. Lisa has strong interpersonal and communication skills, as well as the ability to motivate those that she is working with, delegate responsibility, respond to feedback, and solve problems. She is always a step ahead in terms of thinking about how to get the best outcome. That's a whole string. But yeah. So now I lost your picture. Yeah. There you are.
Anything surprising when you hear things back to back?
There's a lot of there's a lot of people whose experience, which is good because this is what I'm going for. Even though sometimes I feel like I'm not doing that, but it must be coming through, is that I'm all about bringing the passion to get engagement and motivation, and but I'm not a control freak. Like my aim is not to control every aspect of it. My goal is to foment excitement and then get the ball rolling. And so if I've missed something and somebody else is like, yeah, but what about this? I'm like, oh my God, brilliant. I love that, which I think is a very nuanced goal for your communication and your leadership style. In other words, that's like pie in the sky, but it's a hard thing to like, how do you do that maybe? But it came through in a lot from all walks of life, which was great. And the other thing that surprised me was a lot of people tapped my creativity
Yes, I got that too.
in a very corporate, a right. So I was like, wow, that was surprising.
Yeah.
And a lot of people described their experience of working with me the way that I would describe my ideal state in a leader.
Great.
So things that I admire and respect in the best leaders who make me feel the most, connected, committed, bought in, willing to motivated, all that stuff are a lot of the qualities that now that doesn't mean it's but I mean it's how I would describe my best leader. Um so that was surprising. That was really surprising.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love that for you.
A ton of people. I don't know if this is surprising, but do you know they say like the cobbler's son doesn't has holes in their shoes or whatever that is, or like, accountants can't balance their own checkbook or whatever. People who are in communications usually ramble, right? Like that's the thing. That's like the thing. You usually go into the thing to solve your own psychic whatever. Um, every single person commented on how articulate and excellent communication. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like the blood drains out of me to get the perfect, whatever. And I feel like it's messy and it's all over the place. And but the through line is there.
Yeah. I love that. So do you find that people are seeing you in a different way that you see yourself?
I feel like people are seeing me in the way that in my fantasy, I hope they see me, but my brain has convinced me, or my own insecurities are like, oh my God, who would see you that way? Because in the experience of it, I'm like, well, that fell short. That was not articulate. Wow, you're a control freak. Wow, those people weren't happy in that meeting. Um,
Right.
so what's interesting is what's coming back to me is what I'm very consciously putting out from a heart desire to be those things. And what I'm getting back is, yeah, we got it. And I'm like, that got you there? Really? Wow, that's great. Can I be on this call? Thank you, baby.
I love that discovery. So when you get a chance, I do want you to put them all together because I want to ask, I want this to be a tool for you to see what your value is and what you bring to the table. And this will help you when you start negotiating. Because I want your inner value to be as up there as possible. So you can negotiate the strongest place for you to start.
I can totally see that.
Okay.
And by the way, I already kind of feel a weird, not arrogance, but confidence in like people are like, oh, so tell me about you. I'm like, well, I'm a highly effective communicator. I'm a team builder. I'm a consensus builder. But ultimately, I'm about getting into the details that are necessary. I don't have to do them all, but getting into the details that are necessary to get the best possible outcome, high quality experience all the way around. And I can say that with a totally straight face now in a way that I don't have to like over explain it because I have other people's language, not mine. So my ability to articulate what I like and what I do well and all the rest of it, I have proof points now that like I don't feel like I need to like make a case to the person that I don't need to over explain it. It just I'm pulling literally from other people's language. And because a lot of it is just reflecting back what is already in my heart, which is how it all started. Now I just say it plaintively. I wouldn't even call it confidently. I would just say, I mean, I'm just passing on what people say about me.
There you go. There you go.
Really powerful place to be.
That's exactly the perfect use of this exercise.
Yeah, it's funny. Where I noticed it was on that interview call, regardless of what happens. But my default MO has always been like if somebody asks me a question like, well, show me how you contributed value to X campaign. And like if you have the data stats and say, well, I got a 400%, ROI and fourfold leads and whatever, and like that, if it's true and I've done my homework, like I can say that confidently and it's received, I think, in the spirit in which it's given, which is like, well, check that off the list. But that's not the same as when somebody says like, why should I hire you? What's unique about you? Or what are you all about? I panic because I feel like I'm about a lot of things. What are you looking for? Like, I don't know. And I can spin out really easily. The great thing, the best value of this exercise is that somebody asks me an open-ended question like that, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a accounting genius. I'm not going to say that because A, I don't care, and B, nobody said it. So now I have this very constrained universe that, thank God, just happens to be what I care about being, distilled down to like, it just is what it is. Doesn't say that I am the most efficient worker. That could be a great thing. Maybe I value that, but obviously I don't value it the most. And that could be a great thing for some people, right? Make decisions quickly. Another thing, no one said that. Doesn't mean, it's just that's not my thing. My thing is these other things, which are amazing. And if I lean into them,
Yes.
I'm good.
That's great. It's a filtering system and it's so great. Excellent.
I no longer worry about all the qualities that I see out. It's like I see all these qualities and I'm like, oh, I'm not that. I'm not that. Oh, fuck, I'm not that either. Oh, I'm not that. I'm not that. All people are not 85% of the qualities that you could name. All people. They're just a different mix of the 15%. And I don't know that I ever really leaned in. And I've done 360. I mean, I've done some of this, but I've never done it from this broad or scary a breadth, and asking people to distill it so succinctly, because then they've got to pick their language, right? They've got to pick their most definitive essence of their experience. And so that exercise bubbled up. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'll lead into that. That's great. I love that. I'm that. Totally that.
Excellent. I love
So
that.
I actually had a lot of fun. I actually had a lot of fun doing it, which is weird, but it also, based on what each person said, it helped bubble up some of my successes that I'd forgotten about, because I was like, why would they? And I was like, oh, that's right. That's right. I worked on, whatever. And they must have seen that as a huge success. And I've literally forgotten about it. So it was good for a couple of reasons.
Very good. Excellent. So now you're in a holding pattern, waiting for them to get back to you. Is that what's happening?
Yes. They're in strategy sessions, I think, next week. And hopefully after that, they said they wanted to have a call after the strategy sessions. I will say I started spinning out a little bit last night. I'm gonna just, let it go. But after my call, I reached out to each of them to link in. Neither one of them accepted my invitation. Whatever, it's fine, it's all good, but it's a data point. It's maybe not be a data point, but it's not a buying signal. And then the next thing that happened was, like, the CEO looked at my LinkedIn profile before our call by like a day. He pulled it up again yesterday. So I'm like, oh, maybe on the topic of conversation, or maybe they're like, she doesn't do that. I literally, like, you know what? You don't know. You're not gonna know. Let go.
Good. Good. Any other irons in the fire?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if I would call this a big iron, but it's an iron. It's an iron and a lead engine. One is, I had dinner last night. Let me back up and say, I reached out to everybody around the holidays and New Year's to say Happy New Year, whatever. The president of the company I just left wrote me right back, and he said, yeah, Happy New Year. Great to hear from you. And maybe I'd said something like, would love to catch up. So maybe, I don't even know. And he was like, yeah, great. Let's catch up. How about Thursday? And I was like, fuck, I don't have anything to say, but okay, fine, sure. So I did the call while I was at the peach orchard. Now, at the end of that call, he said, like, can I serve you in any way? How can I be helpful? And I said, well, I don't even know where it came from, but I said, I would love to be, helpful to you. If there are any holes in your marketing resources, or any place that, you want to plug in a resource who knows the company, and, on a freelance basis, I still keep tabs on the company. I love the people, that. I hope you'll keep me in mind. The temperature better than I do. And he basically was like, I would support that in a heartbeat. And he said, you should reach out to Leia. And I said, well, Leia's his deputy. And I said, Leia, when I touched base in December before she left for vacation, We're going to get together in January. He's like, great. 2 days later, she reaches out to me with a group. This is the group that formed the gender, the DEI group together, the 4 senior women. She reached out to me, but to the other 2 as well, and was like, hey, we should get a dinner on the books or whatever. So we did that last night before last, I'm not sure. And on one side of my brain, I was like, she's pulling other people in because she doesn't, she's trying to, she's trying to have buffers there. And I was like, okay, whatever. But maybe not. So we go, and like, she could have been more lovely. She was like, what are you working on? What's going on? How you seem really good, whatever. And I said, actually, I would love, the chance to just have a one-on-one catch up. And she's like, literally give me a date. Like, I'm there. So we're going to have a call next Thursday. And I'm going to say the same thing to her. I'm just going to say, I'm here. You're bound to have turnover. There's also probably infrastructure and technology, not technology, policy stuff that, you may not have the senior staff in place yet to do this. And I know all the players. I can be very much in the background or not very much in the background, but if there's any way that I can, my resources and the meanness of me, you think could be, sorry, I just spit some sesame seaweed, that you, where you feel like you've got a need or you could use some help, I hope you'll consider reaching out. And she'll say yes. Whether she does it or not, I don't really care. I more care that I ask for the business from a place of like, yeah, I do this now, right? Like I'm a freelancer now. So that's right. And then I still have to circle back to Anne Marie to finish out the edits to my resume. I'm sort of letting that percolate and digest a little bit because stuff is coming up while I'm trying to ride each wave rather than go in there and start editing and hacking away. I'm like, oh yeah, what about that? Like, why wouldn't I highlight that? So we're going to connect either tomorrow or over the weekend to do round 1 of 2 edits. But it's like 85% of the way there. Like it's in great shape. and I'm in great shape, meaning I'm like connected to the words on the page. And then the web seminar that I produced this morning, well, threefold. I produced it for WIN, which is this industry group. And we had a post-event recap with the new president of WIN, right? Who was like, you guys did such a great job. Like, I mean, so I've got like another stack of accolades now with this industry organization. Remember, this is an industry organization. They all work for firms that could hire me. So I'm not there yet, but I'm shifting a little bit how I'm showing up to like community meetings and what have you. And at the appropriate point, when I've got my resume set and whatever, and maybe I've got a little bit more feedback from Australia, I'm considering how I go about tapping this network. Because they'll be ready to go so that's going to be my next step, is like how I show up. My real next step is on this WIN web seminar. The speaker that we were working with happens to be an executive coach. And because I helped produce her or whatever, she was like, if you have any interest, I would give you a deal. So the reason that that's meaningful is she would be more about like, here's how you go through a traditional job process. She was a recruiter in the money management industry. She also was an investment banker. So she's got a very specific siloed, right? And she's very well connected. And so I said, I need to look at my budget. I'm literally burning through money right now. And she was like, you look at your budget, but just know that whatever you think you can handle, I'll probably be okay. Like whatever it is, we'll find a way to make sure that it creates value for you. Cause I'd love to support you in this. So I was like, great. And I feel like this, which was huge, the resume, which was huge, having an actual real call of like a potential freelancer, like big major client, huge. And then I got spotlit. So she asked me for technical reasons. She was like, "Can you run my chat and my Q&A?" So I was like, "Sure." Which means my big fat mug is up there as like running the event for, I think there were 60 women on the call. And I was like, now's the time to go to my LinkedIn and update it to I have my own firm. Because for sure, because now I'm
Wow.
going to get searches, right? And as I just continue showing up and doing hopefully quality work. Then by the time I'm like, hey, close network in here, I'm actually on the market, freelance, full time, whatever it is. If you hear of anything or if I can be of service, like let me know. They'll all talk to each other.
That's fantastic.
So, and then this woman would be, it's really a two-pronged thing. My real, like, independent of a job search is if I had a job tomorrow, what I would work with her on is improving how I message to C-suite in the money management industry. Because if you figure like there's how you talk to men, and then there's how you talk to people in finance, and then there's how you talk to like 55-year-old straight men who are running JP Morgan, and it's like a whole it's a language that is completely antithetical to my whole being, but it's a skill. It's a learned skill like anything else. And she'd be great at that. And for sure, she's done that for probably every woman she's ever coached in her career. So I feel like she'd be a really good. She's also she's an empath for sure. She was an investment banker who quickly who into her career was like, I'm good at this, but I'm miserable. And she took a personality test, and it was like a chart your values kind of personality test. And the test came back that her number one value was altruism. And she was like, that's why I'm miserable in investment banking. And she went into recruiting for a while. And then she now has her own practice of, HR coaching and individual sort of empowerment coaching. But she's very kind, and yet she also is very practical. So I feel like it could be that, but I also feel like now I need somebody who, like, if I had to find a job for even a year, and then I've got enough stuff percolating that maybe it's just a transition year. I don't know. But I don't want to leave out every iron in the fire. Because I feel like I can always put something in the fire, and if it comes back to me and it's not right, I'm whole enough to say like, change my mind. I don't want that. But I also don't feel like doing things sequentially. Like at a certain point, it's like, you know what? You're in the market. Go be in the market. Different ways, sideways, horizontal, project, freelance, long term, whatever. You're in the market. See what comes back.
Great. Great. One moment, please.
Yes. Oh, so good. You'd think it would be like styrofoam, but it's actually very tasty.
Good. It's flavorful.
Very flavorful.
All right. I'm just going back to your level of success. Have you gained clarity on your own narrative?
Totally.
All right. This isn't very linear. You're looking at a year to actively look for employment while opening yourself up to the small on-ramp of activity you had last year while you were freelancing. What is the narrative of the year you left? You have that.
Yep.
What freelance work came your way? What full-time positions might make sense for you? That's becoming clearer to you?
Totally.
Great. Great. And your resume, which initially looked like you were 6 people, had no story that was clear to you at that point. And now you do have a story.
Totally.
Great. All right. Great. So we did your dream job state. We shifted fraud, dishonest, and inauthentic. How do you feel about feeling like a fraud now?
Totally not true.
How do you feel about feeling dishonest?
Totally not true.
How do you feel about being inauthentic?
Not true.
Very good. Okay, your sounding board. So you're wrapping up. So you're going to thank your sounding board people
Mm-hmm.
for being there for you. And you're going to say, it was very helpful for me to have you because you let them know. And then you wrap it up. You say, this agreement is over. Cha-ching. Okay. And then we looked at your successes. Great. Okay. Right. The last thing that I would leave you with is something called momentum, about momentum. So here's what it looks like. We know that the situation you're in needs to change. Clearly, you're on the fast track for that happening. So we know that where you're at right now, not everything is working for you, but there are things that are in place that are working for you, even now. So let's take a look at that. Hey, Lisa, in your current state right now, your day-to-day experience, where you are right now, what your life is, what does work for you? What feels like it's in place for you? What parts of yourself do you get to be expressed?
I have over the last year built a network that's beyond anything that I can imagine in terms of asking for advice, asking literally directly for help, networking, introductions. I would feel comfortable with all of that. Asking people to give me honest feedback about myself, asking people to mentor me for, a month or whatever. Um, and it's because I genuinely wanted to contribute to a network. So now I'm like, right, I say this to everybody. You contribute to a network, you're not giving to get, but the point is that you can always accomplish more with a group of people than you can any one single individual. So be that person. Be that person, because a lot of people need help. And it'll be your turn when you need it.
Yeah.
And so I feel great about that. And I feel like in addition to building a great network, I literally made valuable contributions. sometimes little tiny pieces. Not always running the show at all, but a piece that had positive impact on the world
Cool.
last year. And so that's I feel like I'm in a really good place around that.
I love that. What about your day to day, your Pilates, your like, what is
Oh yeah. So I'm going to Pilates tonight. Still doing Pilates like, 2 or 3 times a week. It's my supercharge pleasure/treat that I give myself. Because I always look forward to it and I always feel amazing right after it. And it's serving like a kind of a constant reset. So like if I go out and have chocolate cake tonight, I'm like, go to Pilates in an hour, like whatevs. And then you come out of Pilates and your body is a temple and you're like, yeah, I don't really chocolate cake is the last thing I want right now, right? Like I want like hot tea or whatever. So it's something that for me, for now anyway, is critical to my physical, mental, and spiritual well-being is doing that a couple of times a week.
excellent? How about like your social life? Is that working for you?
Well, I mean, um, uh, yeah, um, yeah. Interestingly, that's a really good question. Interestingly, it's working better because I don't know because, but they're related somehow. As my extended network has become more enjoyable, bigger, more mutually supportive, I guess you want to call it. Um, I am much looser and freer with initiating plans, not initiating plan, not being in charge, seeing people, checking in with people. It's like a spiral. First of all, my between the Pilates and growing my network, the strain on my social close people is less.
Great. Okay,
Yeah.
good. What other things are working for you? Do you feel healthy? Do you have a good diet? Are your cats work for you? Like what about your like day-to-day life that you're like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like what are you grateful for right now?
I love that I have an amazing playlist that I can call up any second of any day and it will always make me happy. I always forget what's on it and then I play it and I'm like, oh, that song's awesome. And sometimes I dance and sometimes it's a slower song, but it's always like an instant connection, always like an instant, like, oh, I feel more alive. So I love that. So glad I did it. The other is I'm loving my space. So part of the reason that I make sure that I have parties every so often is because I have to like rethink my space and like clean up and like put shit and then I'm like, I gotta throw this away or whatever. So I'm loving, like I took a nap on my couch today with my cozy blanket and there's tons of space and there are piles everywhere and I've got candles that are lit. And I need my home to be like a place of solace and sort of, yeah. So it's doing that. Love it. And I'm cooking. So meaning I'm cooking like healthy, not meat, very nutrient dense and very affordable. So I'm starting to eat really well, not spend a ton of money. So I'm stressing about spending a lot of money and it's just there. Like it's a much better support of my where I am financially right now and also just of my lifestyle. Like I'm not like, oh, I can't cook. It's like, no, I have like 5 things frozen. I'll just pull something out. So much better self nurturing and self care. Um, that's definitely working really well.
I love it. Okay, so this is a good list. So I'm just looking at the time because I wanna okay. So You've built a great network beyond what you could imagine, during which you've actually made valuable contributions in building the network. And we may or may not revisit that. You go to Pilates 2 to 3 times a week. Your social life is better. You have an amazing playlist. You're loving your space, and you're cooking nutrient rich, super self supportive food.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm being financially responsible.
Oh, and you're being financially responsible. Okay. Now, similar to the dream job state, we're going to revisit this type of activity. I would like for you to tell me the adjectives that describe the feeling for each one of these things. So, you built a network beyond what you could imagine. What adjectives would you use to describe how that feels?
Held, connected, valuable, and loved.
Beautiful. You go to Pilates 2 to 3.
Seen. That's an important one. Seen, super important.
Yes. I love that. You go to Pilates 2 to 3 times a week now. What adjectives would you use to describe how that feels?
Centering, motivating, meditative, kinetic, and sensual of the senses, sensual,
Good.
like embodied,
There you go.
truly embodied. Also connected, oddly. Maybe not oddly, but yeah,
Very good.
in a different way connected.
Good. Your social life is better now. How does that, what adjectives would you use to describe how that feels?
Light, joyous, fun, grateful, lucky, and connected.
Very good. You created an amazing 11-hour-long playlist. What adjectives do you use to describe that?
Exhilarating, heartfelt, soulful, connected, and held.
Great. Very good. You are loving your space. Your space is so working for you right now. What adjectives would you use to describe that feeling or those feelings?
Held, um, um, safe, peaceful, like um like surrounded. That's a terrible adjective. Like
It's okay. We don't have to, you don't have to pull for more. You're
yeah,
very
that's good. Those are good.
um And now you're cooking nutrient-rich food and that you can just pull out of the freezer. And how does this feel? What adjectives would you use to describe that?
Nurtured, alive, kinetic, sensual, and happy.
Great. And finally, you're being financially responsible. What adjectives would you use to describe that?
Peaceful, calm, happy, and surrendered.
Beautiful. All right. Can you take notes?
Yeah.
I'd like for you to create a column of adjectives. I shall tell you what they are. Let me know when you're ready.
Just one?
One column.
One column. Okay, go for it.
Held, connected, valuable, loved, seen, centered, motivated, meditative, kinetic, truly embodied, connected again, light, joyous, fun, grateful, lucky, connected again, exhilarated, heartfelt, soulful, connected again, held again, held again, safe, peaceful, nurtured, alive, kinetic again, sensual, happy, peaceful again, calm, happy again, and surrendered. So on a good day, this is what you can feel. Read that list back to me with I feel in front of each one of those words.
Holy gosh. Okay.
Yes.
I feel held. I feel connected. I feel valuable. I feel loved. I feel seen. I feel centered. I feel motivated. I feel meditative. I feel kinetic. I feel truly embodied. I feel connected. I feel light. I feel joyous. I feel fun. I feel grateful. I feel lucky. I feel connected. I feel exhilarated. I feel heartfelt. I feel soulful. I feel connected. I feel held. I feel held. I feel safe. I feel peaceful. I feel nurtured. I feel alive. I feel kinetic. I feel sensual. I feel happy. I feel peaceful. I feel calm. I feel happy. And I feel surrendered.
So, any surprises around that?
Connection is really important to me. and I think in a lot of ways is the fuel for a lot of other things for me. But I also feel like feeling held um is also a motivator for other things. It gets me other places.
It's good.
And the need for peace is important too.
You have it.
Right? Like I have um I don't know if it's a surprise, but it's an observation that I have a lot of high state emotions,
Yeah.
but I have an equal need for grounding and soulfulness and peacefulness and calm because I can't be here all the time.
Right. Right. And you have it in your current life, the way that your day-to-day life is. I love all of that. In addition to that, I'm noticing that on your dream job list, the first word on your dream job list is connected.
Is it really? Haha, that's funny.
Also, kinetic is on your dream job list. So
What
instead,
else? What else is on my dream job list? Joyous?
joyous, joyful, yes,
Joyful?
purposeful,
Purposeful.
and passionate.
So purposeful and valuable I see as seem like two sides of the a similar coin. And the last one is passionate.
Right.
Yeah, so like exhilarated and so
Oh,
that's
joyous is on this list too. No, joyous. You have joyous in this list too, in your momentum list.
but I have joyful, I have purposeful, and I have passionate.
Yep, hold on, scrolling.
And I don't know that I have passionate any place on this list, but I have cousins of it in music.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
Um, for right now, music is a big high octane fuel
Yep,
for me.
I love it. So I think this is a great note to end on, because instead of waiting when your dream job comes, you are already feeling most of your dream job state. You're creating it in your life right now. And this is what you bring to the table when you have an interview with someone. This list of momentum, this momentum list, because this is what it's in your system right now. So every interview that you have brings this energy to the room. So you don't have to reach for and try to create another state. You don't have to overcome like a bucket of negativity. It's like, this is what it is that you bring to the room. So I want you to keep this list as a reminder too for the next interview that you have, going, all right, Liz, and this is gonna how you're gonna fluff yourself up. You're like, listen, I feel. That is already connected to your system right now, because that's what's alive. Because you have the network, you're doing Pilates, you're doing the cooking, you have the friends, all of that.
Can you just give me the list again? The prompts. It was my network, Pilates.
Yep, hold on. Network, Pilates, social life. You have a good social life. The playlist. You're cooking. And you're being financially responsible.
Got it.
Very good. So there you go. So you now have the packet that gets you prepared for the interviews. You've got it now. You got your dream job state, you got your network of goodwill, you've got your momentum, and you got your list of successes. And it's working for you. Congratulations. You had a very successful experience, my friend. I'm raising
Thank you very, very much. This was awesome.
You really kicked it. It was
I
really
love jumping off of cliffs with you. There's just nothing quite like it.
you,
Yeah.
you fly. You jump and you fly. It's wonderful doing this work with you. It's like you're
Oh my gosh. This was amazing. Okay. Oh my god. Is that you? I need to send you. Am I sending it to you Zelle or PayPal or Venmo?
I could do any. What's your favorite?
I feel like Venmo.
Let's do Venmo. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me stop recording. There we go. Stopping